Hello and welcome back to Homeschool Together. Thanks very much for joining us. This week we were in China. Oh, well, I wasn't. Ariel was.
You were in Florida.
I was in Florida taking care of a sick family member. And so Ariel and her mother and father actually helped do most of this work this week. So
Yeah, we did.
I'm just the passenger. I'm the Vanna White of this episode today.
Oh, cool. You get to show all the books.
I am. So let's get right. No. So our main focus, we always like to talk about what we focused on. We focused actually on the Olympics, which happened to coincide with.
Well, I mean, the Olympics were in Beijing. We're going on right when we were studying China.
I watched a lot of curling. What did you watch?
We watched a lot of figure skating. Figure skating all the time in our house.
Lots of drama in the figure skating.
Yeah, there was. And we talked a lot about Chinese New Year because that just happened here. And there were several of the books and movies that we watched that talked about Chinese New Year. So it was really perfect.
It was a good pairing for you. Yeah. So let's get into it. So The Year of the Dog.
Yeah, this is a wonderful book by Grace Lin. This is a main recommendation from Build Your Library. And it basically tells the story of a girl. This is actually a Taiwanese American girl. So this isn't, but she often refers in the book to being Chinese American and then Taiwanese American. And there's a lot of discussion about how those are the same sometimes and different at other times, and where parts of her are more Taiwanese and where other parts of her they're more Chinese.
Talked about the complexity of the situation.
It really did, and it talked a lot about just her family's traditions. It was her going through her life. She's in like upper elementary school, and it kind of talks about all of the different just kind of trials and tribulations a kid goes through. Each chapter is something new that's happening in this year of the dog, which is the same year she was born. So that's her like lucky year, she says. So it kind of takes you from the start of Chinese New Year all the way to the end. And it was really engaging. My daughter was very interested in all of the ups and downs of the things that happened to her. The character's name is Grace, so I think that this is probably loosely or more based on the life of the author. And we really loved it. We actually took 2 weeks to read this one because it is a little bit long, but I wouldn't skip this. I think it's a great book.
Yeah, pretty long actually, about 230, 240 pages.
Yeah, but really worth it. And because each chapter is about a different situation, sometimes chapters will kind of go, like 2 chapters together will be one, time period. It worked okay to break it up. There's also stories that family members tell her within the chapters that are italicized that go back to their childhood when, something happened. And it got us going on lots of different rabbit holes. Our daughter just really loved it.
Yeah, structurally very more complex novel than what we normally see with these type of readings.
It is, but even though it was more complex, our kindergartner still totally ate it up. She really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, good recommendation. Magic Treehouse, The Day of the Dragon King.
In typical Magic Treehouse flair, the Jack and Annie are again going someplace crazy. This is a little bit further on when they're doing some missions for Morgan Le Fay.
Book 14
I know
in the series.
Way too much about Magic Treehouse, y'all. Way too much. But this is cool. So this emperor in this time period that they go back to is the same one that had all the terracotta warriors made. So it was cool, and he did some of the work on the Great Wall as well. So it really was great because we kept coming back to terracotta warriors and things that kept coming up to this emperor. So it was really good. It's a typical Magic Treehouse book, y'all. There's nothing special about it except that our kindergartner goes gaga for anything Magic Treehouse, and it paired really well with China. So I would say don't skip it if your kindergartner also loves Magic Treehouse.
Greetings from Somewhere, The Mystery of the Forbidden City.
Another great one in the Greetings from Somewhere series. This is recommended by Torchlight Curriculum. It's awesome, right? There's homeschool siblings that travel around the world with their really cool parents, and they always end up solving a mystery that seems more nefarious than it is, and it's always really good. There's some light illustrations. You can read it in one sitting.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely recommend all of these books. I think there's 10 in the series.
Yeah, I think we've gone through most of them now.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amy Wu and the Perfect Bow.
I loved this one. It's about this little girl named Amy and her family. They make all these original dumplings. It made me so hungry. This is a recurring theme, you guys. But she makes all these. They make all these beautiful dumplings, and she just can't figure out how to make the perfect bow. And so it's all about her going through that process with her family, and then finally figuring out what it takes to make the perfect dumpling. We ended up pairing this with the Disney short
I was wondering
Bow
if you had,
on
yeah.
Disney Plus. Yeah.
Which is very heartwarming.
It's very sweet, y'all. It almost makes me cry every time. So we paired this. This was really fun. I think of all the picture books we did from China, this was our favorite.
Yeah, looks very, very, very playful illustrations.
It's very colorful, and I think, if I'm right, in the back there is, yes, for those of you that are brave, there is a recipe. I had my parents here and was juggling a lot, so we did not do it, but I kind of plan to come back to this and try the recipe at some point.
Bitter dumplings.
This was really a good one. I liked it too. This is about a girl who was...
This is fun. You got to do all the readings.
I did.
Normally we're sharing the duties.
I know. She was cast out by her family, and then she ends up finding this old woman that everyone in the town has kind of shunned, and she ends up helping her to make these bitter dumplings and sell them at market. And eventually a young man comes and he helps, and the two end up, living happily ever after. But it's a sweet story about kindness and about not being prejudiced towards just because people think this person's strange. That it was a sweet story, and we really liked it.
Yeah, beautiful artwork too.
Yeah, really great art.
The Empty Pot.
This is a story about telling the truth. The emperor gives a challenge to all these children, and he gives them all seeds, and whoever can grow him the most beautiful flowers by the end of the year, I don't know, there's a time limit. Whoever can grow him the most beautiful flowers is the one that will be the next emperor. And this one little boy, he loves to garden, and he just can't get anything to grow in this pot. And he tends it and tends it and tends it. And finally, he delivers an empty pot to the emperor, and all the other children have all these beautiful flowers. But the emperor chooses him because he gave everyone seeds that had been cooked. And so none of them should have grown anything. And he was the only one who was honest. And so it was kind of a great story that, honesty wins the day. And good morals, but
good morals for 6-year-olds,
right? And really good artwork. So yeah, we really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. The Great Race, kind of in line with the Chinese New Year.
Yes. So this is a myth of this race that was held to determine what the years would be. So all the different, the year of the ox and the dragon and the
dog,
the
dog, the cat.
Yeah, I'm trying to rot off the animals. And I can't remember, but anyways. So it's like a race as they go over the river, and whoever arrives first is going to be the first in line for the year. And it was interesting because as the animals went across the river, they all showed their different traits that those years, the people that are born in those years, are supposed to display. And then in the end, it gave all the years, kind of like, do you remember going to like Chinese restaurants and the menu? Remember, it was always kept under the glass table, so you couldn't do anything to it, but you could see.
Memories. I'm a dog. What are you? You're the year after.
I think I'm an ox.
Oh, really?
Maybe, or I don't remember.
Not very compatible.
I don't remember. Anyways, I noticed that our two girls are supposed to be compatible, whatever. So I told my daughter, that's why you got to be friends with your sister. See, you're meant to be compatible. But yeah, so it's one of those things where at the end it gives all the different birth years and the traits of those people. And so it was really fun because we went through let's do daddy. Oh, let's do grandma. Oh, let's do your friends, And so it was just a fun exercise. And this is part of the original, one of the tales of how they came up with the years.
Absolutely.
So this was fun. I wouldn't miss this one, especially if you're going to do Chinese New Year at all.
Absolutely. You wouldn't want to work on the Great Wall of China, very similar to the book that we talked about before with Alexander. You wouldn't want to be in Alexander's army. So these
are just they're cool books by Scholastic. They're a bit above kindergarten age. I'm going to be honest with that. I would say they're much more akin to third grade on.
Wonderful artwork. I mean,
really great artwork, and it tells the stories from if you were a worker, what would your life have been like, and all of the things.
That's an element of history, I think, especially ancient history, that's lost a lot of times. Is the story of the common man. You always hear about the great man theory. Telling the stories of average people, I think, is lost a lot of times. So it's cool that they're writing.
It's really interesting. They talk about the hardships of what their life was really like, and of course, all of the grand movements of the emperor and things. They're really packed books, and I think if you're doing this with an older learner, this would be great. One of the things I love about these history books that also go with the countries is I get to save this, and then when we cover, ancient civilizations and as the times progress, I can pull pull all these books back in.
Yeah, double use on these.
Yeah, they're really good, and they're from Scholastic. They're pretty affordable. I would definitely pick them up. We bought this one, and I think that they're worth it.
Absolutely. We have a couple honorable mentions. First is the 7 Chinese Brothers.
Yeah, this was one of those myths with every brother has a different magical ability, and then they all end up tricking the emperor. It was good. I would say if you can get it from your library and you need some more books, get this one.
Liang and the Magic Paintbrush.
Yeah, really good artwork. Just about a story about a boy who had a paintbrush and could make things come to life. We liked it well enough.
Yen Shen, kind of a Cinderella story.
Yeah, it's just another Cinderella story. I feel like we end up going through, not every country, but a lot of countries end up having some version of the Cinderella story. And this was just another version. I thought it was good. If you're looking for extra books to fill in, it's worth getting. But if not, then you could just skip it.
Absolutely. And then you guys went on to do a lot of movies.
We
Naturally,
did.
when Nana and Papa are here, you watch a lot of television and movies.
Yeah, that's the thing my family loves to do. We love to watch movies and talk through, and ask questions and get really into it. So
Over the Moon.
Yes, we love Over the Moon on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, it's wonderful. If you're a mom, get a hanky for the beginning and the end and partway through the middle because it always gets me. But it's so sweet. There's really great music.
Wonderful music, yeah.
Oh, wonderful music. Great story. It's really terrific about a girl who goes to visit the moon goddess Chang'e when her father expresses he's going to get remarried, and that makes her sad. And so she wants to help to remind him of this enduring love that Chang'e supposedly had for Hoyi, which is a man stuck on Earth. She's the moon goddess and he's on Earth, and they could never be together. So it was really great. It also talks a lot about Chinese New Year, which is perfect for what we were studying. And it's wonderful. We've seen it, 3 or 4 times. It's really good.
Really good.
And then there's a newer Netflix movie called The Wish Dragon, which was pretty good, about kind of a poor boy who wants to reconnect with a friend of his from his childhood who is now rich, and he can't connect with her, and he ends up getting this wish dragon that can help him with the standard 3 wishes, and he ends up changing the dragon to it's good. It's not as good as Over the Moon if you don't only have time for one. Over the Moon by far, but The Wish Dragon was also good. We liked it. Not a musical.
And then you guys watched animated Mulan.
We did.
Not new Mulan.
Yeah, we went
Mulan.
back and forth. We're like, we're gonna watch new Mulan or animated Mulan or any Mulan. Do we have to watch a Mulan? But our 2-year-old was like, we must watch Mulan. She insisted. We watched it, and it was as good as it was in 1996.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine.
It's good music.
It's Mulan.
Yeah, really good music. I mean, yeah. Absolutely. Videos you guys watched, a lot of Great Wall type of stuff.
Obviously, we did a lot of stuff about the Great Wall.
Really cool theme for young kids to see this huge, massive wall that you can see from space.
Yeah, it was really cool. We watched a lot of stuff about the Great Wall and a lot of stuff about terracotta warriors. Our daughter was really intrigued about this because she likes tombs and things like that from Egypt.
Did some air dry clay stuff.
Yes, and you made, right before you left.
I tried to make a terracotta warrior, and it turned out to be more like a serial killer.
I wasn't going to go quite there. I thought it looked kind of like a monster. But
we'll post it on Instagram. You can comment later and let me know if I'm right.
I thought it looked okay.
Looked like an angry dude.
Yeah, you tried.
I tried.
So you did that, right before you left. We talked a little bit about terracotta warriors. Yeah. We did watch a lot of Chinese cooking videos and people making dumplings and people making stir fries, and we watched a lot of food videos. It made me very hungry. When my parents were here, we did do kind of a Chinese themed night. We made fried rice. My mom made something that she was calling a chow mein. It wasn't a chow mein. And something else. I mean, it was a bit of Americanized Chinese food, but our kids liked it. And
should we talk about the Chinese food we made this weekend too?
Yeah, we did make some Chinese food this weekend. I actually, again, it's all kind of like Americanized Chinese food, but it was really good. I made a Mongolian beef, and I made a Beijing beef, which was like a Panda Express copycat recipe, which was really, really good. Again,
we know
Panda
that's not
Express,
Chinese food.
Not Chinese food.
We totally get that, but
we know. It's not real, but it's one of these things where we, when we go and make food from different countries, we have to kind of adapt a little bit because we're trying to feed a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they're
don't
just.
Get us. It's either chicken nuggets and we get to make ethnic foods, or we can try to make something
right.
that
So we
everybody
kind of
likes.
have to. I'm hoping maybe on the next round through we can make something that's more authentic. Maybe. Although when I was in Taiwan, when I visited there for work, we did eat fried rice as a part of meals there and stuff. So I think the fried rice was okay. I think the other dishes were questionable, but we did our best to try to do something approximate, even though it was Americanized again. But
it was a good experience, and I think a good example of being able to adapt. I had to leave pretty quick to go help, and then your parents came up and helped, and so it was a really good experience of letting sharing the duties of this around the world journey, because we always know that this is going to take a long time. Things are going to happen. Life circumstances will get in the way, and very often you have to adapt. And I think you guys did a great job too. It sounded like the kids had a great time.
They did. I think it was really fun. I think actually my parents had a really good time. I would say
I think it was the first time that they've actually been, hands in on it as much as they are, and I think that was a good experience for them.
Absolutely. I took all the spine books, because usually, I don't really mark what page of a spine book, because we know, hey, we're doing China. We're going to open the atlas to the page on China. But I actually bookmarked them for my dad.
I noticed all the torn page bookmarks.
I did.
Who's got these bookmarks?
There was like 20 bookmarks. So my dad was like, my parents came like really ready to help. They knew like we have to step up. She's going to be working and working full time and taking care of these two little kids.
Super mom
and we're coming to help, and we've got the dogs, and we're coming to help with all of it, right? And they came like really motivated. And my dad's like, okay, Ariel, what do you need me to read? And I literally went boom with this stack of spines. And we have a lot of. At some point, we're going to do a video, and stay tuned for it on all of our alternative spines. But we don't just
We've mentioned them here and there.
Yeah, we don't just use the spines from Torchlight and Build Your Library. We have expanded that number. Yeah. And so I bookmarked them all, and he was like, I could see him like gulp and go,
oh, this is more work than I thought.
Okay, And
but it sounded like he did a good job at it.
He did a really good job, actually. It was funny, too. He was kind of critical, because he went through all the spines.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have read so many nonfiction books at this point about China. He's like, I read, we went through the Atlas, and we did A School Like Mine, and The Kids Like Me, all this stuff. He goes, nowhere, not in any book did they say they speak Mandarin, or that they speak a different language. He goes, it never came up. He goes, really? You're not going to include that there's a different language spoken and a different way of writing, and that they don't use, an English alphabet?
That's funny, because a lot of times I'll play a video for the girls of people speaking the languages. Like if you're in say Poland or in Germany, I'll pull up a news a video or some video of somebody doing a tour, and I'll be in the language, and I'll be pointing out to see how much it sounds different than our language.
Right.
That's funny that he points out. That's something I always do.
Right, because he's like, why didn't they talk about the fact that the writing is totally different? So we had to watch some videos to look at calligraphy and different ways of writing and things, so that they would understand that this really is different, and how cool it is, how neat.
I'm glad they had a good
They did really enjoy it, though, and we had some fabulous food, so I think it was all worth it. So if you have relatives around, get them involved in your homeschool. I know my parents learned a few things.
And give the stay-at-home dads who do all the homeschooling a little bit of a break. I'd rather have different circumstances, but it's good to have a break,
So anyway, stay tuned with us if you enjoyed this video of China.
As we continue trekking around the world.
I know.
Maybe a little bit. This is an Olympic thing here, a little biathlon. See you guys next week.